Well, g'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Alright, today I am showing a double bevel grind or a dagger grind, whichever one you prefer to call it. Now the process of this one starts right back here at the profile grinding. You want to make sure that your profile is an absolute mirror. So when you're grinding into the profile, just clean it all up and then you need to check it. Okay, here we get the process of checking it. So I'm going to put a straight line down on my work surface. Okay, then we need a straight line on the knife itself. The tip's fairly obvious. I can roughly do the handle section. And then what I'm going to do is just gauge in from each side. Just working the same sort of measurement off the fingers. Okay, then using all those marks, we're just going to find that straight line and mark it through the center. Okay, we're going to put that straight line on the knife, on the straight line on the work surface, and then we're just going to trace around the blade. We'll do that on both sides. And just flip it over. Make sure I'm going to transfer the marks across. Tip in line, bottom in line. Retrace the marks. And all traces along the same line. So this one actually works perfect for your hand first time. Okay, after heat treatment and cleanup, we're just going to colour in the edge of the blade on both sides and then just draw it through the jig just to get our lines. That way we've got our lines to work to on both sides. Okay, up to the grinding stage. You can see there's a center line marked on both the knife and also the jig. We just want to make sure that center line is square to the jig. This one is a file guide with a carbide face. Just means that you can't grind past that point. Okay, now we use my grinding jig, which is from Nordic Edge down here in Australia. Works perfectly with these file guides. That's the way it's designed to. You just put the file guide straight down in the grinder and clamp it on. And then we kick off the grinder and we can start grinding. Okay, first I'll adjust the belt across to the side that the jig is on. And that just means that I'm cutting to a soft edge on that side. So I just want the belt to sit a little bit off the platen. So in we go against that file guide and just taking the metal off. Just checking it as we go, seeing how it is. Now because it's a double bevel grind, chances are I'm going to have to adjust as we go. Just to get that perfect angle, I want to have the right cut and it finishing in the center without my dog kicking my camera around would be awesome. Okay, once we have the right thickness on the edge and we come down to the center line, then we are all perfect and we can flip it over and do the other side. Just undo the clamp, spin it over. Clamp it back up again. We want to adjust the belt so it's sitting on the other side of the platen. And then we start grinding the other side. Exactly the same thing. We want to grind it down to the center line. And so we have the perfect profile on the edge. Okay, we keep grinding down till we get that perfect center line. as per that, with a nice edge profile. Now, the more we grind down, the more often we want to quench. Don't want to get that blade too hot. And we'll flip it over and work on the other side next. Now, because I took the time to center everything up in the file guide, all I've got to do is flip it over and I can start working that other side just by putting the clamp on, and away we go. If I hadn't have centered the file guide, I would have had to take it off and play around. It's worth the extra effort just to get it all set up and ready to go. Okay, because this one's an oyster knife, not an actual dagger, going to the extra step and putting another facet on the blade at the front. So it ends up with 3 bevels on it, rather than having the double bevel on each side. So a little bit of hand grinding there. It's pretty hard to do this one with a jig. Okay, and back into the jig, and we refine the grind on the belts. Do the 240 and the 400, and then I'll do a 600 cork finish by hand when I've done the maker's mark. This is where it's handy to have a decent jig like this one, because I can take things off, put them on, and know it's going to come back to true. Whereas if I was using a timber block type jig, I can't do that. Okay, there's a finished product. A nice clean double-sided grind, even thickness on the blade, all ready to go on with the making process. Alright, well, thank you very much everyone for watching, and bye for now.